Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Shady Josh. This is a Honda CB125 which I bought recently at an insurance auction, and it's got some damage to the front end which I'll show you in just a second. The clocks, the headlight, all of those things are smashed up and the clocks are all damaged. They're missing, in fact. They're down here, which is not good. They do show 14,000 miles if I can zoom in, so that's pretty good. Headlight needs to be replaced clearly. All of these front bits are smashed up and the front mudguard is also completely cracked. You can see, in fact, let's just pull it off right now. That's completely smashed up. The front wheel and tyre look to be in good condition. The engine runs well. The exhaust heat shield is missing, so that needs to be sorted out. The front forks, unfortunately, look like the seals may be leaking. The rear shocks are in pretty good condition. You can see that this clutch lever is completely broken off. From the back, this looks like a really nice bike. It's really nice and straight and clean until I come down here, and using the number plate as a guide, you can see how far out that back wheel is. Who knows why? Something to do with the swing arm or the shaft, who knows? Something's wrong. The rear end is completely buckled. Now, something I always do on these Hondas is I check the chain, and the way to do that is just get a screwdriver and just kind of feel the play, and if you get play like this, it means that the chain is no good. And the easy way to change your chain, I have removed the rear chain link, and so I can just push this through with my screwdriver, and so I should be able to just give this a tap and then grab it with the screwdriver. I'll just give this a tap and there you go, the chain will fall off. And now I should be able to just pull this chain free and the rear wheel will be easier to access. Time to undo my rear brake rod, and it's just a size 14 spanner. To remove the rear cable, I just need to press the rear brake lever, come to the back, pull that guy free. I want to remove this chain guard so I've got better access to the swing arm and the rear wheel, and so I just have to undo these two 10mm bolts. To undo the rear wheel, I need to hold this side with the 22mm spanner, and at the same time I can turn this side with my size 17. And then I should be able to just pull out this rear bolt from the other side. To remove the rear swing arm, I need to take out this nut, which is a size 19. And now I can just get my hammer and my screwdriver and knock that one through. And then pull it out from this side. And now this rear swing arm should be free. So let's see if we can get it loose. There you go. And I'll take that shock out, and then over here I just need to pull this bolt free, and there's the old swing arm. Well, we have got some problems, guys. This bike, I have fitted the new swing arm, and you can see the back wheel is still completely off to the side, so it wasn't the swing arm. So far, not so good. I've taken off these rear fairings and I can't really see anything that's bent. It could be that this subframe has gone that way, or it could be that the rear wheel has gone that way. So just pulling the tank off, and I need to disconnect the fuel hose. I've taken that tank off now, and looking at the rear section, unfortunately this whole bit, which is the rear subframe, is out of alignment and it's gone that way. So looking here at these kind of metal parts which are part of the rear subframe, I think both of those are going that way, and this whole rear end is out of alignment. You can even see it there on the shock. The shock isn't upright, which it should be. It's out to lunch. So unfortunately, this bike is not going to be a fixable bike for me. There's a couple of options. I could strip this bike for parts and reuse the parts on another build, or I could make it into a special. So I was thinking about, I could cut this frame here, cut this off, get my big hammer involved, try and straighten this stuff out and make it into like a special build, which would be quite cool, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send this bike back to the company I bought it from. And so I called them up and I said, this bike has got a bent rear subframe, and they were really nice about it. They said, sorry about that, it's something we try and look out for, but it's impossible to filter them all out. Send us some pictures. And so I sent them a picture of the rear subframe, showed them that it was out of alignment, and they said, yeah, we will come and collect it and we will send you a full refund. So good for them. So now I'm going to put this bike back together. So this bike needs to be reassembled. All of the parts which I took off are on the floor, and I'm just going to put it back together the way it was and send it back. I've put the petrol tank back on the bike. I put this 12mm bolt back in. So I've refitted that fairing, which probably wasn't original, and now I can just fit this one, which goes on the side. And I put the side fairings back on one side and the other side. This panel wouldn't really go on properly, so I just squashed it on there any way I could. Well, I have thrown this bike back together, and I really mean thrown. In places I haven't done the bolts up. I've used a bit of brown tape here and there. This bike is going back to the insurance auction where I bought it, and they will make it a Cat B, and it'll be a spares only bike, and they'll probably sell it at auction for 50 quid, to be honest. So there's no need to put it back together too carefully. All the parts are there that were on it when I bought it. Now this fairing I've put back on, and you can just see, well, I can see it's a different colour to the rest of the bike. So I'm almost certain that the bike had a smack at this side, and someone has changed this out to make it look a bit better, sent it to auction. I don't really know why, but anyway, not my problem. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to refill this petrol tank a little bit, just so it starts, so it feels better when the guys take it back, because it's run out of petrol. So this is my jerry can. It's just an old petrol tank off a brand new scooter that I stripped for spares, and it was full of petrol, so I've been using it to fill up bikes. So I'll just tip it out into this funnel, and for this purpose it'll be perfect, and that should do it. Now I'll just pop this back on here, and then let's see. Well, it should start. Let's just make sure it does start. So if I pop the petrol tank cap back in and try and get this key out. I mean, this whole bike, I would have actually done something with this bike, but everything on it is dead. Like, the engine runs well, so that is good. The tyres are good, a few good things on it, but mostly I've seen much better bikes, and it's just not worth my trouble. So let's just make sure it starts. So we'll prime the fuel tank. Let's do it a few times. You can hear the change in notes there as petrol comes into the fuel pump and it's priming. So that's what you want to hear. Not sounding the healthiest. As I say, this bike, a lot of parts are a bit ropey, but you hear those note changes as I prime the petrol tank quite a few times. That note change means that petrol is now in the system, so it should start now. Famous last words. I'll just prime it a few more times. So I'll just leave it there to tick over for a second. And in the meantime, I'm going to put this petrol tank, this seat back on before I die of petrol fumes. And this whole bike is so ropey. When I got this was taped down. Anyway, whatever, it's done. So that is going to wrap it up for this video. It's been a bit of a bust, this one. I bought this bike for £550 from this auction. Went, picked it up, brought it back, did the work you've just seen, and it's going back. Although they are collecting it, because I called them up and said, look guys, I've bought a few bikes from them as well. And so they have sort of looked after me. I don't know if they'd take it back from anyone, but because I've done quite a lot of business with them over the last probably 3-4 years, they have looked after me. So anyway, this one's going back, and at the same time they take it, I am having something very, very special delivered. Not similar to anything I've had on the channel before. So watch out for that. It's going to be amazing. As a little hint of what it might be to the people in the know, my brother works at a particular motorcycle manufacturing facility, and he designed the engine for the bike that I'm going to buy. So that's a bit of a hint. It's going to be amazing, so stick around for that. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't done that already, and I will look forward to seeing you very soon. Thank you.